This is a retelling of the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. It is being told to my wonderful boyfriend, who has heard this about 50 times already, and our dog Rocky, who if only he grew 2 more heads could be the Cerberus in the story. Orpheus was the son of a nymph and a human, and was blessed with extraordinary musical talent. He played the lyre and the world stopped to listen. The animals stood and cocked their heads, the birds stopped their song, and the wind sang along. Orpheus fell in love with a girl named Eurydice. She was gorgeous, the most beautiful in the land, and they loved each other so very much that they wed. On the day of their wedding, the skies were dark, the torches blew black smoke, and all the priests foretold bad omens. And bad omens there were. The day after their wedding, the sun was shining, and Eurydice went for a walk in the meadow. As she was walking, she came across a garden snake and was bit. The venom coursed through her veins, and she fell over dead. Orpheus, when he found her, was distraught. He picked up her cold body, walked her back to the house, and he wept. Once her funeral has ended, Orpheus went on a journey. He brought his lyre, and he sang across the lands. He traveled over land and over ocean until he came to a dark cave. He wandered into the cave and went down, 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 further than any mortal has ever gone before. He was entering the land of the dead. He eventually came across a river. As he was approaching the river, he was stopped by howling and barking sounds. Once he turned to glance, he saw the heads of a Cerberus. 3 heads with 6 pairs of blinking red eyes looked at him. They were gnashing their teeth. Orpheus pulled out his lyre and began to play. The dog sat down, started to wag its tail, and eventually went to sleep. Chiron, who had heard the music, he's the ferryman, of course, paddled his way over and was listening to the tune. Orpheus climbed aboard the boat, and Chiron paddled him across. As he dismounted, still playing, Orpheus found himself where he wanted to be, in the land of the dead. Usually, when souls cross the river, they forget their memories. They forget everything. They become lifeless husks, roaming the forgotten lands. Orpheus, his music so powerful, everyone was listening. He gathered a horde of these dead to follow him as he walked towards the palace. Their feet rustled. It sounded like wind going through dead leaves in the fields. Orpheus approached the palace, walked up the black steps, through obsidian doors, down onyx hallways, until he arrived at 2 thrones. On one sat Hades, the king of the dead, his long black beard pooling over his belly, and his wife, Persephone. Orpheus began to sing a song of love, a song of pain, a song that reminded Hades and Persephone of their love that they share. Persephone turned to Hades, tears streaming down her perfect face, and Hades shed one single tear. All Orpheus wanted was Eurydice back. There goes the real life Cerberus. Hades beckoned over the 3 fates. There were 3 fates, one who wove the strings, one who measured them, and one who cut them. The fates mended Eurydice's string, and Hades decreed that once Orpheus could not look behind him as he traveled out of the land of the dead. For if he looked behind him and before the sun shone on his face, that Eurydice would be lost to him forever. Orpheus made his way back to the boat, across the river and up from the cave. As he walked, he thought he could hear faint footsteps behind him, the breath of Eurydice on his neck. Once they made to the top of the cave, Orpheus stood in the starlight. The moon was still out. As Eurydice exited the cave, he heard her stumble. Without thinking, he turned around, as if to catch her. He sees the pale moonlight on her face for one last time until she vanishes. Orpheus, in his desperation, makes his way back down into the cave, back to the Cerberus and to Chiron, but both of them turn him away in scorn. No amount of music playing will get him back across the river. The land of the dead was closed to him for now. Orpheus made his way back up to the land of the living and played a song so sorrowful it had strings of sadness woven through it until he died. Once he died, he crossed back over the river and forgot everything all over again. But some say that once he crossed over, Persephone remembered him. She touched a single finger to his forehead and to the forehead of Eurydice, and they both remembered. Some say you could still hear them laughing arm in arm as they walk through the land of the dead. Sometimes Eurydice walks in front and he behind. Sometimes Orpheus leads, knowing every time he looks back that Eurydice will still be behind him. Thank you. Thank you.